Hello, J314. I'm Betsy Ross. Hey, thanks so much for being with us this week. Just want to give you a quick update on the class so far. Thank you to those who have done your Solheim Cup release. Should have those graded and back to you. Unfortunately, about half the class have not finished that part of our assignment. So if you could please get that back to me by this time next week. Remember, this second release is for a grade. The first one was practice. The second one is for a grade. So you need grades to get through this class. So assignments will be graded. The midterm will be graded. And of course, the final project will be graded. If you're looking for the class calendar, that is posted on our Canvas page as well. So just want to give you a little bit of an update. You have done research this week on the history of the LPGA, especially the history of the LPGA in Cincinnati. That is going to be very important in what we do with this project. So not every week you're going to have an assignment to turn in, but you do have an assignment. You need to have that research because that's our base to how we're going to be building this project. So this week I want to talk about what is sports PR and how this all folds in together. So first thing I want to do is, what is sports PR? Let's take a look at it. Sports PR is pretty simple. Sports PR really is just talking about what's going to be promoted within your sporting event, your sports team, your sports entity, whatever. As the name suggests, sports PR simply describes public relations for sports teams and individual players. It's about building media relationships with sports journalists and getting publicity for athletes through earned media, online and offline. Earned media is PR. Purchased media is marketing and advertising. That's basically the difference. Earned media channels. You earn this media by getting publicity, getting coverage for your players, your teams. What does sports PR include? You serve national and international audiences, especially as we're talking about the LPGA. It is truly an international entity. Even if they work for teams in small media markets, and you could make the argument that, yeah, Cincinnati is a small media market, but it is a global tour, the LPGA. Press organizations have consolidated. Everybody has cut back on staff. Everybody has cut back on their personnel. Those people have more things to do. When you used to be in newspaper, that's all you did was feed the newspaper. Now, if you are a newspaper reporter, you have to post social, you have to do videos, you have to do all kinds of different things. So these people have moved into different formats. Messages travel faster and farther than at any time in history. Thank you, social media. A sports PR specialist, as it says, helps facilitate relationships on every level between media, teams, athletes, fans, businesses. You help foster and maintain those ties. It takes time and it takes patience. This is just like sales. Public relations business is all about relationships, and the relationships that you make as a PR professional with the reporters, with the people out there who cover your sport, your team, your athlete. The tools that you need: be a good writer, just as I said the first time that we met. Be a good writer. Be organized, because there's going to be fires all over the place. You need to be organized in how you plan, how you're going to do this public relations. And again, that's going to be a major part of what we do in this project. Be a good listener, because you need to know your subject. Again, that's why we're doing this research. I want you to know about the LPGA. I want you to know about the LPGA history in Cincinnati, because that is so important. Know your subject, be responsive to media requests. If someone asks you for an interview, don't say, oh, okay, I'll get that to you tomorrow. No, because they're working on deadlines. I always say that there are no deadlines, and then every minute is a deadline. Again, thank you, social media, because every minute can be a deadline. They don't want to hear from you tomorrow. They want to hear back from you right now, because if they don't hear back from you, they'll go to another public relations person because they got a story to do. They got time to fill. They got tweets to send out. If you can't help them, they'll go to the next person, and you've lost your opportunity to promote whatever you're promoting. And then be flexible, because things change. Stories break. There's a snowstorm and all of a sudden they're not covering your football game because traffic is backed up. Things happen. Don't get discouraged. It works out that way. When you have a great idea for a story, keep pitching, keep throwing these ideas at these reporters. Hopefully you have a good relationship with them. Again, it's all relationship building. Got to be their buddies. You got to introduce yourself, give them a coffee mug with your logo on it, and say, hey, I'm going to be throwing you ideas. When you know your client, sport, or event, you know what makes a good story. If you know the LPGA's history in Cincinnati, then you know that Nancy Lopez is a great story. And if you've done your research, you know why. Offer that story to your media list and make it as easy as possible for them to follow up. That's why on those releases, I have you put your contact information right up here, because you want it easy for them to follow you. If they don't take your first idea, don't worry about it. Just keep pitching, keep pitching, keep pitching. You never know when they're going to bite on a story. Don't get discouraged. You might pitch different stories 12 times before they take it. But when they take it, you're a hero. And then thank them for doing the story, because again, relationships are so important in this business. And think beyond the sports page. The LPGA stop in Cincinnati can mean $10 million to $12 million in economic impact. So what does that mean to the businesses in that area? What does it mean to the restaurants? What does it mean to the hotels? What does it mean to the mall that's just down the street from this golf course? There are other stories that can be built around the LPGA in Cincinnati. Sponsors are planning a year-round diversity leadership series of seminars for women in this area. That's also a story. Not on the sports page, but it's an economic story. And what about youth golf programs? Is there more interest in golf now because of this tournament in the greater Cincinnati area? There are other ways that you can get the information out. So don't just concentrate on Cincinnati market. As we move along in this process, you'll be coming up with media lists. And I'll tell you right now, media lists are gold. Media lists are golden. You have that media list and you do not give it to anybody else. It is yours. And that is something that you do not want to give up. It takes a long, long time to build a media list. And once you build it, it's yours. And we'll talk about that in a week or two. So I want to give you an example of a PR plan that we came up with a few years ago. So this is the All-Star Game. All-Star Game was in Cincinnati in 2005. And the All-Star Game, well, let me just say it was an experience. I'm not sure I want to live through it again, but it was an experience. So the All-Star Game coming to Cincinnati in 2015, and everybody in town expected our company to get it, because that's what we do, sports PR. So they sent out an RFP, which is a request for proposal. They sent it out to several public relations companies here in Cincinnati. Only three came back with a proposal. We were one of them. So we had this great idea. We had several great ideas, at least we thought. So it was just after Nick Lachey, 98 Degrees. Nick Lachey had just won a singing contest with a Cincinnati-based choir. And so we thought, oh, we'll have these pop-up choirs around Cincinnati to promote the All-Star Game, and they'll sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" and center field and all these baseball songs. And then that'll be, kind of a grassroots way to do it. And we'll also have benches around for Johnny Bench, our Hall of Fame catcher from a few years ago. We'll have benches around town, and that will promote the All-Star game. So we had all these great ideas. Lesson number one in all this, listen to your client, because you know what? We made all these great ideas that we thought they didn't like any of them. They didn't like ours. They didn't like the ideas that the other two companies gave them. But they picked us anyway because we had a relationship with the Reds. Again, going back to this is such a relationship business. So we had a relationship with the Reds. So we got the gig. Lesson number one, listen to your client. They didn't want to promote the All-Star game because it was going to be sold out and everybody was going to watch it anyway. What they wanted to do was promote the Fan Fest. The Fan Fest is, and you guys know if you follow any of the All-Star games, Fan Fest is like, if you can't get a ticket to go to the game, you go downtown to the Fan Fest. It's usually downtown, a central location in the convention center, and it's just stuff the fans can do. So they came up with this Twitter vending machine to promote the Fan Fest. They gave you a code. If you tweeted out special hashtag, you got a code. You could use that code and you would go up to this vending machine that was downtown in Fountain Square, which is our central location in Cincinnati. And then you would vend a little prize there. And the prizes could be anything from a toothbrush to tickets to the All-Star game, to tickets to Fan Fest, to an autographed baseball, all kinds of stuff. So they wanted to promote the Fan Fest. All right. So we got the gig like 4 days before they started this All-Star game promotion. Tweet to win, Twitter vending machine. Down on Fountain Square, there's your hashtag, and then you got a free Major League Baseball All-Star gift. You had to be there at Fountain Square. Snowstorm, and it was the day that they were taking down the skating rink. It was a Monday. They were taking down the skating rink at Fountain Square. So there's ice, there's mud, there's dirty snow, but there's still a line of people who are there to get their free gift. And so that was the kickoff to promote the All-Star game. The Reds had their mascots down there and they promoted it and it was really good. You can see Fan Fest hat, you get a spin brush, you get a sticker. They gave away all kinds of stuff. A couple of our friends, they got baseball, they got tickets, and then she's very excited about her Major League Baseball keychain, but that's okay. So they gave away all kinds of stuff. This was the beginning of the promotion. Again, they didn't want to promote the game. They wanted to promote the Fan Fest. The next morning, they had a Major League Baseball representative doing live shots downtown at the convention center where this Fan Fest was going to be held. Came up with another idea to promote. Let's promote 100 days out from the All-Star game, okay? 100 days out from the All-Star game happened to be Easter Sunday. But we still did it. Again, downtown on Fountain Square, cameras showed up and we covered it up. We had a countdown clock. And then we had the Nasty Boys, who were our big three relievers in the 1990 World Series winning team. The Nasty Boys came down and did the unveiling, 100 days for the All-Star game. Downtown, they wrapped buildings, kind of the old-timey ball player with the pillbox hat and the mustache. That was kind of our unofficial mascot, if you will. And then again, Major League Baseball would bring people in every once in a while to do interviews, especially on morning news. Todd Frazier, he was with the Reds. He was our ambassador. He was named to do a lot of the interviews. Another thing that we did for promotion, again, this is all grassroots. This is not paid, all grassroots. We did a Twitter scavenger hunt. and we would tweet out hints. People would go around town and they would find things like, again, all-star baseball tickets, tickets to Fan Fest, things like that. There, one guy found his all-star tickets there in Johnny Bench's statue downtown. Fan Fest kicks off. Barry Larkin, again, is one of our ambassadors. The mayor, everybody was there to kick it off. And we did interviews down there at Fan Fest. Fan Fest, as I said, it's kind of, if you don't have tickets to the event, you go down there, you get autographs, kids get to run the bases. Again, you get your picture taken with Todd Frazier. There's Johnny Bench. They did promotions like the largest game of catch. They had someone from Guinness World Book of Records there. So here we go. So one of the big things that they do surrounding all-star games, they do events. Demi Lovato did the Saturday night concert downtown, which was great, but it was supposed to be Ariana Grande. So lesson number 2 about PR, don't take it personally. Because Ariana Grande, there they tweeted out, headline all-star concert, blah, 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 Saturday, July 11th. Can't wait, it's gonna be so exciting. Everybody retweeted it. It's really cool. Ariana Grande, except right before all this, Ariana Grande got caught licking donuts and tweeting out 4-letter words that she shouldn't have. So all of a sudden, Ariana Grande might not do this. So I get a message from one of my coworkers at Fox 19. Did you hear that Ariana Grande, I know she misspelled it, is canceling playing here and Demi Lovato is in? I had not heard that, and I will follow up. And then my coworker comes back to me and says, just got it confirmed, Demi Lovato is in her place. Major League Baseball did not tell us. Major League Baseball did not tell us, their local public relations firm, that all this was going on. I had to hear it from a coworker of mine at Fox 19. They didn't tell us. Were we upset? Yeah, I probably still am upset, but they didn't trust us. Again, don't take it personally. Some of the other things that were surrounding Major League Baseball, Mike and Mike was there. Again, when Mike and Mike was on the radio together. There's Barry Larkin, there's Johnny Bench, some of the other events that they had a color run, 5K color run. And then finally, be professional, but have fun. We're working in sports. We are so fortunate to be working in sports. Be professional, but have fun. Have a lot of fun with it. Gapper's having fun with it. Some of the other ancillary events, Jenny Finch is there for the celebrity softball game. Snoop was there. They have a red carpet. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And there's our mustache guy. It's a lot of fun to do this. We are in sports, and there's our team that really put this together. Between the staff and the interns, we worked hard. It wasn't easy, but we were so fortunate to be able to have that opportunity. But it goes back to building relationships. If we hadn't had that relationship with the Reds to begin with, we wouldn't have gotten that gig. As different as it is, and as hard as it is, you know, it's tough sometimes when you don't understand why something can't be decided right away. Somebody like Major League Baseball, they have a big office in New York. They have a lot of lawyers that they pay a lot of money for. So they have the lawyers make the decision, and they don't necessarily make it quickly. So it was kind of like turning a ship around, but it was a lot of fun. And again, we're so fortunate to be able to have that on our resume. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of sports and PR, the basics. You need to have these relationships with your contacts. You need to be able to know your audience, but know your subject. That's why I had you do that relationship, that base relationship or the work that you have done on the research for the LPGA in Cincinnati. That is so important. That's your base, and we'll build from there. So if you check out our class calendar, the week of September 13th, which is where we are, going through the public relations, traditional social media, the difference between news, earned media, that's us, marketing and advertising, that's paid media. The assignment now is to research media outlets for the LPGA. And as I mentioned, don't just think local, because this is a global tour. What I want you to do is search out the media outlets. You're going to start with the television stations in Cincinnati, the sports talk radio in Cincinnati, but I want you to look at beyond Cincinnati. I want you to look at golf outlets, golf websites, golf publications. And I want you to make a list of who and what outlets that you would send a release to. Again, don't just think Cincinnati. Cincinnati obviously is included. Don't just think Cincinnati. Think globally, think nationally. This is a national tour. This is an international tour. So if you're sending out a release about the LPGA in Cincinnati, where would you send it? Know your audience, who's interested, and know your subject, period. And yeah, it's not glamorous to do a lot of this research, but it is so very vital. And you'll learn why it's vital as we go on. So this week's assignment is to find your outlets that you're going to be sending this information to. And this is an assignment that I want you to send back to me. I want it by next Monday. Send it back to me and we'll go through your media outlets. And what we'll end up doing is taking your list, putting them all together, because there'll be some repetition, but we'll put it all together. We'll come up with a media list that you guys will use for your project. So come up with your media list. Give me however many, and there's no limit as to how many contacts you want. Put it all together, send it back to me by Monday. By this time next week, we'll have a kind of a final list. We'll put them all together, make a final list, and that's what we're going to be working off of. If you have any other questions, please drop me a note, let me know. Again, for those of you who have not written the LPGA Solheim Cup returning to Toledo release, please do so. I need that by next week as well, because that is 4th grade. So please send that to me. Send your media contact list to me, and then we will be working off of that as we go through the semester. Thank you again. Hope you have a great week, and we will talk with you soon. Take care.